Welcome back, OSLP family.
Welcome.
This is our Save Life podcast presents
The Bariatric Diaries.
This is Mel.
And this is Kelly. And
we're
so excited
I know.
for this guest.
We have our third person, which no one knows who it is.
No, we haven't told anybody. We've been keeping it a secret.
Yes, we are so excited.
Yes.
So do you want to tell them the good news?
Yes. So we have the one, the only, one hungry mother in the building. Not really, but soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
So Stephanie,
One
welcome
hungry
on.
mother.
Welcome on.
Thank you for having me.
We're so excited.
How are you feeling?
I feel great.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're covering her first month, guys.
Yes.
So she's only 1 month out.
Yes.
How crazy is that?
It seems like it was forever to get there. Like watching you, like it was like, come on, like doing surgery. And then now it's like flying.
Fine. Freaking way too fast.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
You were probably good that you got through fast.
Yeah, I feel good about it being fast for the
Yeah.
first 4 weeks. I think that's good news.
It's true.
Did it
It's
feel
true.
fast to you? Like,
No.
no.
Not at all.
Okay.
It's snail's pace. So tell them a little bit about yourself, like your background, like what made you even get into the bariatric like surgery, like not into it, but you wanting bariatric.
There you
Yes.
go.
Yeah,
We'll get
I know
there.
what you mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm Stephanie. I am 34 and a mom of 2. I have a 1.5-year-old and a 5-year-old, which is crazy. I work in marketing, so I have a desk job, and I have been gradually gaining weight since I was like 18 years old. I'll lose a little bit, but then I'll always gain it back and then some. And so my high this summer was at 270, and I'd been considering bariatric surgery for a while, but I never in a million years thought that I would qualify for it. I was like, I'm not that big. The 600-pound life, and then
Been there.
I ran a calculation for my BMI and was like, oh crap, I qualify.
Yeah. You're like, I
So-
automatically qualify. Well,
Yeah.
How did that make you feel? Like after checking that?
Like, I think equal parts excited that there was a way out and equal parts like just mortified that I let myself get to that point over time. I do have hypothyroidism, so I have a very hard time losing weight, even when I'm medicated appropriately for my levels.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, and my stepmom passed away in May, and it was kind of a final like eye opener for how short life is. She had chronic illnesses and chronic pain, and her end of life wasn't as full as I know she would have liked it for it to be. So when the opportunity for surgery presented itself in the form of a promotional email, I started really digging into it, and ultimately found the Instagram community and started doing more research on RNY versus VSG, and then started my 6-month weight loss program that was required by insurance before getting my surgery. So I started that process, I think it was June 9th, actually. I started the process in June, and then had surgery February 10th. And yeah.
That's
The rest
exciting.
is history.
Yeah. What made you choose the sleeve over bypass?
So I was on the lower end in terms of BMI for people getting weight loss surgery. And so my doctor recommended the vertical sleeve gastrectomy. That's word right. Because there are less complications, less dumping syndrome, and it's just an easier procedure overall. And I would still be able to get the results that I was looking for.
Awesome. So where did you, I know a lot of people have problems with this of like researching in general. Like, where did you start? Like, what was the first thing you went to?
I actually stumbled on this blog about weight loss surgery. So then I started digging into Pinterest, looking for other blogs for weight loss surgery. A lot of them were blogs that were started by people at the beginning of their journey and then abandoned once, they get back to a normal life, I guess.
Yeah.
Or if they're not losing as much or gaining weight, I'm sure like it's a little demoralizing to blog about it. But yeah, I found this Facebook community through that blog, and it was mostly about mommy makeovers at that time because she'd had surgery and gotten a mommy makeover, and so started this Facebook group. And then I think I tumbled from there into other Facebook groups, and somebody posted like, hey, like let's all share our Instagram handles, which led me to Instagram, and then I started doing research there. And then I found, you know, My Bariatric Dietitian and our Sleeve Life podcast. It was actually one of the first resources I found. I binged the whole first season.
I remember you messaging us for the first time.
Yeah.
And you were like, I am obsessed. I have to clean to your guys' episodes.
Yep. My house was never cleaner than when I was binging the first season. So
That's amazing.
it's time to go back.
the house, it's time to binge again. Well,
Yep, exactly.
binge the show, not binge.
Right. Yeah.
Not really good.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
that's cool.
so that's kind of how I like stumbled into my research, was just like one person leading into another.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I feel I connect to that because I was the same way. Like I started on Pinterest, then I Googled some, but Google, I mean, you get so many like ads and websites that it was like, it wasn't what I was thinking that I wanted.
It's probably more clinical.
It
when
was,
you Google.
yeah. And I wanted like experiences. I don't know if you,
exactly.
like you wanted to see real people going through it or talking about it. And so Instagram was my first, was like, I wanted to be able to like go on there and see other people and see how they dealt with it. So, cause I never imagined it would be as
what it
as
is.
big as it is. Like I had no clue when I signed up. I was just like, oh yeah, I'll just make an Instagram, and there's so many.
Not 3 years later.
Yeah.
Almost
Crazy.
Yeah.
The community is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. And I will say there was a moment when I got close to surgery, whenever I was, you know, second guessing. You guys kind of saw me going through that. There was a piece of me that was concerned, am I getting surgery because I love this community so much and I want to be a member of it? Or am I getting surgery truly for health reasons? And it really is for health reasons, but I had to second guess myself because I was just like, I've grown so close to the people in this community. And I'm, you know, you guys know I have the Bariatric Book Club and the Bariatric Retreat, which we'll talk a little bit more about later, I'm sure. But I'm like, I need to make sure that that's not why I'm going to have them remove 80% of my stomach.
Yeah, no, that's I'm glad that you like were aware and we're like, I need to like talk to myself and kind of like self-assess.
I think it's a very valid thought to have, because this is a great community. And you're like, speaking of, I'm sure if somebody was in this community and they decided not to have surgery, they would still be welcome in the community. But yeah, like I don't think we'll be like, you didn't have surgery.
Get out.
No. But I get like you do a lot for this community because you love it so much. Which is awesome. When did you start the Bariatric Book Club? I'm just kind of curious real quick.
I started it in September of 2020. So it was just free for anybody to join back then. But by December, we had over 550 members.
I didn't realize that.
It got very large, very fast. We had about 120 people joining or signing up for actual sessions every month, but about 550 total on the list. And I realized like I was spending so many hours working on this and paying for the premium version of Zoom and all of that kind of stuff. So I decided to turn it into a subscription service. And that started in January. We're in April now, and we have about 110 subscribed members. So
that's awesome. It's such a great thing. Like I wish I had more time to be able to be a part of it, because I'm just like,
well, actually, like side story, everybody, but when you were coming up with it and you asked us to be involved and like we did that live together.
The first live. That's right.
And it was really funny because Kellie's like, was telling me about it. And I'm like, Kellie, I don't have time to read a book right now, but I'm more than happy to support One Hungry Mother as much as she wants. So I will do whatever she needs me to do, but I can't read a book right now.
Yeah.
And she's like, I know. Like, this is like, we don't have to read. And I was like, okay, cool. Like,
Yeah.
I was like,
beautifully transparent about your time allocation. So you're totally fine.
I remember you asking on the live, you were like, how much time do you actually spend on the podcast? And we were like, 80% of our time. Like,
more than we thought.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like we were kind of in the same boat as you. Like you created something and you're like, you love it. So you just create more and more and more. And then before you know it, like,
it consumes you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
Like, that's how you
Yeah.
know.
It's the things that light a fire under you that you should be spending your days on. So
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
What is your favorite part about the bariatric community?
Oh, damn. That's so hard.
So many
I would say like the camaraderie that there is. Everyone is like, I've never met hype queens like I've met in the bariatric community, you know, like everyone is here showing up for each other in such a big way that I think it's inspirational in all aspects of my life, right? Not just like my bariatric journey, but it kind of shows like how to, you know, present with empathy and compassion and like truly love the people that are in your community, whether you know them or not. I think the bariatric community is a really good example of that.
Yes. I like that.
I agree.
Okay.
So with your journey, so like, how'd you pick your office?
I actually interviewed multiple bariatric offices. I won't name all of them because obviously I didn't pick them. But I ended up with Legacy Good Sam here in Portland, Oregon. I just really jived with the nurse practitioner that I met with. She was really down to earth. She accidentally cussed in our meeting, which just warmed my heart. And I asked her point blank, like, which surgeon would you go with if you were getting bariatric surgery? And she told me like exactly who she would go with. And she, you know, she's very blunt about how she's like, she doesn't have the best bedside manner, but like she does this all the time and she's great. And I was like, oh my God, thank you for your honesty. Like because now I know which surgeon. She was the head of all of the bariatric surgeons. This is the one that she recommended for me. And B, like she set that expectation for me that like my surgeon is going to be like socially a little bit bristly. So i.e. don't take it personally, which I 100% would have. So I just really appreciated that. And we just got along really well. So I went with that one.
Yay.
Awesome. I'm glad that you interviewed.
Yeah.
Like, so they won't let you get to the surgeons before you're at consultation in a lot of places, but you can get to the nurse practitioners, and you can typically get a pretty good feel for the clinic because you're going in, you know, outside of COVID times, I guess, but this was even in COVID. You're going in and you're meeting with them, and you know, I had a list of about 20 questions that I asked each of them.
Wow. What were you looking for? Like, what was
number one?
Like,
I wanted somebody who primarily worked in bariatric surgery. So I didn't want to go to somebody who like has done some VSPs, right?
Yes,
I wanted somebody who like, this is their bread and butter. Like they know all the possible complications, but I wanted somebody who has worked on gallbladder and hernias and things like that in case there were complications. And so that, you know, should something happen, I can go back to that person. And then I think that was like number one for me. That was the
Okay.
So if someone's listening right now, like, do they just call the center and ask for like a consultation?
It depends on the center. So like, one of them here in town, you fill out a form online and then they'll get back to you. Another one, actually all three of them, you filled out an application process and submitted that. And but if you're like me, you submit the application process and then you call every week until they get back to you.
Well, I feel like you're the type of personality that when you get excited about something or you put your mind to it, like you want it done now.
And you're all in.
100%.
And I'm the same way, so I totally get that. Like I think I called every 3 days. Like, do I have an appointment?
That's all you can
something
think
like
about. And
yeah.
so I'm like, I'd rather be talking to a real person that's actually going to be potentially doing surgery on me than just continuing to research other people's journeys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you want to begin your journey, not
Exactly.
like there's a point where it's like, yeah, it's great seeing other people's, but I want to eventually start mine.
Yeah,
Also.
absolutely.
So, yeah.
How many months did it take for you to finally decide? Or was it just like 1 week? You just talked to all these people?
I would say that I'd been thinking about weight loss surgery for like a year.
Okay.
But then I I really did get a promotional email for the local hospital's new bariatric ward.
love
And
it.
that's what like sparked the like research rabbit hole for me.
Yeah.
I didn't end up going through that hospital. So I work in email marketing, though that email did not work.
Good to know.
Good to know.
Yes.
But yeah, so that sparked it for me. And then I had a 6-month preoperative weight loss program. And I would say like I was in it from day one, but I was second guessing myself until like day of surgery.
Oh, wow.
I remember watching the live because you did a live as you were sitting in the car with Eric. And and you were like, I don't know. You were freaking out about the soap because you didn't use the
I forgot
soap.
to bring my wipes.
Yes. And we're all like, it's fine. Just go in. I could tell in your eyes, you were like, okay, I forgot my soap. We got to go home.
We gotta go. That's not gonna
sorry.
happen.
Bailing out now. Sorry. Yeah. You looked so like freaked out at that moment. And I was just like, oh, take a deep breath. You
I've
got
never
this.
had serious surgery before, other than like the only other time I've been in the hospital was having my kids, and both of those were vaginal deliveries. So I did not have C-sections.
Yeah.
So the only time I've been put under was getting my wisdom teeth pulled. And in that instance, I had no idea what a big deal that was. In fact, I didn't have anybody to pick me up. And once I came to, I yanked my IV out and hopped off the table and passed out because I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. Because my mouth was filled with cotton balls.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So my experience with surgery is pretty limited.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
It totally makes sense. With your support around you, like who was like your biggest supporters? Like what helped you get through this?
Definitely Eric. So my husband, I presented the idea to him before I even had my first like consultation appointment. And I had like a 1-pager of like facts and complication rates and like what this could mean for my life and all that. Eric is well versed in my pitch strategy.
I love it.
So he was like, I have no doubt that you've done all your research on this. And so if you feel like this is the next path for you, then I'm 100% behind you. And I would say like he really owned that from, being there whenever I needed to be like out doing appointments to like not having any snacks that I couldn't have in the house during like my pre-op and post-op diet. I literally made the guy sign a contract about what could or couldn't be in the house. Yeah.
I love you.
I think that is the most fabulous idea. Like, I feel like we need to have that contract in like our world so you can give it to people that you live with.
Because I should post that because I think for me, it's not a binding agreement. There's no financial repercussions for if you speak up, but I think it's so easy to be like, well, you said that you weren't going to do X, Y, or Z, and somebody else to be like, well, I thought you meant,
just the first week.
Yeah, exactly. So,
or it's just a couple Oreos.
It's
or
not a
like,
big deal.
Yeah.
Well, I was on this Facebook group and this lady was talking about how like, what do I do? My husband keeps putting his like snack stuff on her shelf. And she's like, can you stop doing that? And he just keeps doing it. And it's like, he's like trying to make you fail. Like he's trying to sabotage that. And I'm like, that's fucked up. Like, that's so not cool. And then some like women, and I did it too. I was like, you need to check him or just like leave him because that's stupid. Like this is stupid. Like
at the very least, sit him down and explain like how serious this is.
This really means. Yeah.
Because I don't think a lot of people understand that aren't in the community. I don't think like if you aren't directly in the community or a support person, I don't think people understand how difficult it is.
Yeah. And they're just not as aware. Like I'll tell you, my daughter wanted to make brownies, or she's been asking for like a week. She set a menu for Friday and it included roast chicken, grapes, and brownies. And so so we got our brownie mix and we made brownies together on Friday, and we each had one. And then the next day we were going to like a socially distanced party thing, and I was like, let's bring the brownies because I don't want them in the house anymore.
Yeah.
And we ended up leaving them in the car and forgot about them, so they're sitting back on my counter right now. And like, I didn't notice them before, but I noticed them today, and I know it's because my husband is just completely unaware of them. Otherwise he'd bring them up to his office. He usually just hides his snacks in his office, so they're away from me.
That's perfect.
But it was highlighting for me just like how much more aware I am of food and like the things that I can't have that somebody is who isn't in this community. So it's just like he's completely unaware of how gross the sink is when it needs to get cleaned. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, so true.
Yes.
see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not in their world. Like they're like, I don't think of those things. Like,
They're very tunnel vision.
Yeah.
So like people that aren't in the community, like I feel like once you are in this community or you have like it just like opens your eyes up to all the different little things that are connected, you know, like
for sure.
You saying that like you're more aware of food, like this is how aware I am of food. If there's a TV show that I'm watching, my eyes go directly to the food.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, those are Oreos. Those are goldfish crackers. Oh, they had pizza. Like
I start calculating the calories that they just have on their plate.
Okay, that takes it to a whole
new
level.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, there's like that, like way too much like potatoes, and there's who's gonna eat all that big sandwich with those potatoes and like all these things. I'm just like, how do you even fit that in your body? Like I start like spinning because I'm like, how could you physically put that in there? Like you definitely look at food way differently after surgery. You're just like, how it's more of a size problem because you're like, how do you fit that? Like, how did I fit 3 chicken nuggets at one time? Like now I can only do 1, you know, back in the day.
Back in the day. Yeah.
I'll say he's been I just want to like amend that with like just how supportive he's been in other ways, because he usually like runs. My mom was accusing him of being like a selfish little monkey because we came home from San Diego and there were cookies on the counter and he grabbed them and brought them straight upstairs. And she was like, you know what your husband did? He took the cookies. He brought them upstairs, accusing him, right? And I was like, no, he's doing that because he loves me and he knows that like I don't want to see him. Yeah. And then like I think it was week 3, we were out on a walk and I was, you know, lamenting how little I've been taking care of the kids. He's been doing like getting them ready and out the door. He makes dinner every night, like doing so much. Yeah. And I was like, you know, like I feel like I should be more of an active participant. I'm a few weeks out now. And he's like, nope, I want you to get back to 100% as soon as possible. So if that means you not doing stuff for a little bit, then like I have a 0 problem doing it all. I love you.
Melt my heart. Oh my goodness.
You have a good Eric too. I love
it. That is like essential to have that kind of support, because I mean most people be like, oh yeah, if you're feeling good, like just take on over.
And if you like, everybody's heard of mom guilt, like bariatric mom guilt. Holy cow.
I'm sure that's real. Hard. Yeah. Cause you have 2 little ones. So it's like, you want to be there and doing all these things. So
some things just feel so little. Like I should be able to pick Oliver up and put him down for a nap, but you can't, not till 4 weeks. Like I should be able to pick him up and change his diaper, but I can't, not till 4 weeks, not unless I'm doing it on the floor. So there's just all those things that you feel like you would normally just do.
Naturally.
Yeah. I never even thought of that. The fact that you can't pick them up. Like my brain goes to exercise. Like I don't think of the mom.
More heartbreaking than an 18-month-old running up to you and going, "Mama, up," and you're just like, I can't.
I want to. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
That's nuts.
Like, I know. 4 weeks. I'm allowed to pick him up now that we're 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes. I bet that was relieving to be like back to normal.
Were you nervous to pick them up though and feel any pain? Like, were you like
No, because I had slipped a few times before my 4 weeks on accident, and like I would feel it. I'd feel the cumulative pain from if I did too much. It's not like I picked him up and was like, he's 25 pounds. But it was like if I picked him up and also like moved my body a lot or something that day, then my pain would be more extreme. And I can't remember if you guys had been following along at this point, but I ended up in the ER because my pain was so severe in my left side. I had a stitch that was, a lot of people have described it, the like anchor stitch, but mine was
I did see that.
incredibly painful, to the point where I could barely take a full breath. And so I went into my surgeon first, and because I called them and was like, do I go to the ER? Like, what do I do here? It's been getting progressively worse, not better. And they had me like eliminate all activity for 3 days. So because I was taking like an hour-long walk every day, and they're like, well, you might just be overdoing it. And so I eliminated all activity. I basically just like laid in bed and walked to the kitchen. It's about all I did. And it was still getting worse. And so finally I went into the surgeon and they shot me with some local anesthesia to see if that would make it go away. And it did not. And so she sent me over, because of the time of day, over to the ER to get an emergency CT scan and some blood work done. Nothing was wrong. It just was a really gnarly like nerve pinch along my abdominal wall. So what's really interesting is the nerves along your abdominal wall run like a belt around you. So it felt like somebody was like shooting me through. Like I felt it in the front and the back. And so I learned that if something's irritating that nerve, you'll feel it in the front and the back. And sometimes, in my case, there was a delayed reaction. Sometimes that local anesthesia will relax the nerves and muscles just enough that it'll stop the irritation, and then you feel better. So I went into the ER, and then literally, I think a day later, a full 24 hours later, I was like, oh my God, the pain is gone. What just happened?
Wow. And this was how soon post-op?
I think it was 3 weeks post-op.
Dealing with that for 3 weeks.
Yeah. So it wasn't as bad early on. It was just like this hurts more than people described. Like, I wonder what's going on. And then it got to the point where that last day I was like, like I couldn't take a full breath or else it hurt too bad.
Whoa, I'm so glad you went into the emergency room.
Seriously.
Because that could be.
The other piece of it, the only thing they found was a mild obstruction in my bowels. So I was like kind of constipated. And I talked to Dr. Joe about it after. He's not my surgeon, but we talked about it in one of the live sessions. And he explained that like for bariatric patients, constipation can be a huge problem, especially if you've got fresh stitches in there. Like you can really pull on things. So something for people to be aware of, that constipation is more than just constipation when you're post-op from bariatric.
It can affect other things in your system,
in your body.
Yeah.
So when was your actual date of surgery, and like how did that day go?
February 10th. It went well. Went in, I had my surgery. I think they started like an hour later than we expected, just because she was finishing up with a different surgery. And then it felt so sudden heading back because I'd been waiting around so long. And then they were like, okay, Eric, you can go through those green doors right there. And I was like, wait, he's leaving?
Yeah.
I was like, give me a kiss, say goodbye. I'm not gonna make it. He's like, okay, you're fine.
Love it.
They took me back. When I first came to, I was in a ton of pain. They had not managed my pain very well. And so I was cursing and screaming so loud that they were telling me to shush. And I was like, I'm not gonna effing shush. I'm in a lot of pain. Oh my God. Like, there are people here that are recovering from their own surgeries. Like, and I was like, then deal with my pain. I was upset.
Yeah.
And then I was knocked back out and woke up in the recovery room.
Oh goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Putting me back under, I think.
Wow.
They put you back under because of that?
I don't know, but like I was back asleep until I was in a private room.
Oh my goodness, girlfriend.
Wow.
That is crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, but I was in and out within 6 hours. So I went in, had my surgery, and then was sent home that day. Saw my kids before they went to bed.
Wow,
that's a like quick.
Yeah, quick. That's crazy that they didn't have you stay overnight.
They said that I had the option, and I considered it because I wanted IV pain meds for longer. But my surgeon doesn't give IV pain meds.
Oh.
So she was like, once you're awake, I want you to like swallow the pills to make sure that you can tolerate them before I send you home.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So she's like, I'm not going to give you any more IV pain meds, so don't stay for that.
Oh my God.
That's so funny.
I was like, all right, then I'd rather be in my own bed.
Yeah, because I had IV pain meds for 20.
I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. That's not fun.
It sucks. But I mean, everything else went fine though. Like, how was that first drink after?
Mm-hmm.
The first drink was fine. I was taking fluids just fine in the hospital. And then once I was able to urinate, that's when they said I could go home.
Okay.
So that part was totally fine. I will say, and like I warn everybody that I talk to now that like you will regret it for the first like 3 to 4 days. Like I regret, and not everybody will, I guess. So I shouldn't make such a generalized statement, but like I regretted it, and I was like pretty gung ho, right? I was like, what have I done to my body? It's never gonna feel good drinking or eating again. But it passes, and like 4 days is nothing compared to the rest of your life.
Oh, seriously. Yeah, you can handle 4 days when now you can live for like, you know, an extra 10 to 20.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you know, the weight that I've lost so far, like if how good you feel was measured in like widgets, like that number of widgets of how much better I feel compared to how crappy those 4 days were is like head and shoulders above.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's so worth it to just power through.
Yep.
But I had those same feelings. Like, what the fuck did I just do to myself? Like that just kept popping in my head. And then after the 3 days or whatever, you start to like figuring out how to drink and like what your time schedule looks like. And I think that's the worst thing is like, you don't know what you're supposed to do. Like, you know, but you don't know. Like,
I get
you
a
won't
lot
know
of
until you do it
about those first couple of days. So, you know, like, should I be alternating protein and water? Yes, you should. How many ounces should I be drinking in each sitting? You know, things like that. It's just, there's just so much information to take in for that first week or so. And then after that, it gets a lot easier. You just follow the guidelines. Yeah.
Well, and you kind of get into a rhythm. Yeah. Of like, you wake up, you do these things, and then you go to sleep. Yeah. Like,
yeah. And then after that, it's just the mental crap.
Seriously, how was it for you?
I would say, like, for me, I've been having definitely the estrogen like roller coaster. Like, I can tell because I'm losing a bunch of weight. You know, estrogen is stored in your fat and it releases into your body as you lose that weight. And so it feels very much like postpartum. So like it's very similar to like after I've had my babies, where like I'm so happy one day or 1 minute, and then the next minute I'm like, oh, everything's so hard and it's always going to be hard and people suck.
That sounds like you. True. It's true. Yeah. One day she'll be totally fine. Like yesterday she was totally fine, and then today she's like, I'm tired. Like, what? Yesterday you were fine.
I know. It was fine.
Well, it feels like you're contradicting yourself, right? Like I almost, you know, had a moment where I wouldn't come on social and like talk about that because I was like, or talk about the bad days because I'm like, well, I was just so perky yesterday. How weird is that going to look?
Yeah.
Like, well, that's part of the journey, is that you're like on a freaking roller coaster.
Definitely.
That's what I learned. Like, that's just what life fucking is. Like, really, as a kid, you don't realize it because you're not the adult, and you just look up at your parents and they're like going from A to B, doing a bunch of stuff. They randomly talk to you and play games with you, and then they go to bed, but you never really understand what life is really like because you're just going to school and hang out with parents. And now that we're the parents or the adults, we're like, oh, this shit sucks. And every other day is like, you just don't know what the day is going to be like, because you can wake up feeling good, but things can just start getting thrown at you and at you and at you. And you're just like, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, you just got to just rock through that day, just own the day. You're like, hey, tomorrow will be better.
Well,
go ahead. I was like, you just don't know. You just don't know sometimes.
Well, to piggyback on that, like being freshly post-op, I remember when I would have those times, like my first thought was, I want comfort food.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that. So like, how did you deal with those like emotions of like wanting to go towards food, but you couldn't go towards food? Like, what did you do to kind of combat that?
The first 2 weeks post-op, for me, I wasn't allowed to take a bath. Like bathing is like my latest addiction. So like pre-op, especially in that, the pre-op diet and stuff, I was taking like 2 baths a day because I would say I definitely replaced food with baths. So those first couple of weeks were really tough. I replaced that with walks. So I would go on a lot of walks. Especially after that first week. The first week I just slept all the time. But like week 2, I started going on a lot of walks. And then when my doctor said that I like needed to eliminate my movement because I was probably overdoing it, that's when I was like in a bad place because I was like, what do I do? Like I have all these emotions. I don't know where to put them. I can't eat. I can't take a bath. I can't go for a walk. Like what the heck?
What do I do with this? Yeah.
It was just like and for me, like watching television is a food trigger for me. Like I know that if I sit down in front of the TV, like I want a snack. And healthy snacks like apples and things like that are obviously not an option for you when you're in the food phase. So
that's correct.
So yeah, that period I would say was just tough. I just kind of white knuckled it through. I did have probably more sugar-free popsicles than I probably should have.
I feel like that's fine.
That's totally fine.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
That's right.
I was in love with the sugar-free popsicles when I was newly post-op. Like I probably had 3 or 4 a day. Like I loved them.
I'd easily have like 3 in a sitting, but I recently looked at the food label again and was like, oh, okay, there's 11 carbs. Okay, cool. Okay,
yeah,
keep that in mind.
Yeah, but in newly post-op, you're not getting it's
newly
fine.
Post-op, that does not matter.
No matter.
Do not calculate that.
No. Yeah, because were you able to hit goals right away, or was it really tough for you to hit the protein goals in a day, or how did that work out?
I didn't have any trouble with that. And I think I think I just really love the like prescriptive nature of the pre-op diet and those first like few phases of the post-op diet. So for my like first couple of weeks out, I was on the liquid phase and I still have it on my page, like the specific things that I would eat. Like I would literally eat those things every single day for 2 weeks. Yep. There were a couple things that would alternate in and out, but like otherwise it was just like really set in stone. And then same with the pureed phase. Like I had a very clear like idea of what I was going to eat. Now that I'm in the soft food phase and thereafter, like that's what feels scary to me is like back out in the open ocean.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was your first puree food?
What was my first pureed food? I don't remember.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wait. No, I do. Okay. It was pureed chili.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, I feel like that would be fine.
I mean, that makes sense because ours was beans and cheese.
Yeah.
That's pretty close.
And I tried the refried beans with cheese. I remember you guys talking about that on the pod.
It's just so easy to digest. And it was all I wanted.
Even now I have it as a snack. I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah. Just throw it in a bowl. I like to do mix-ins and stuff. So I make it all like a supreme one.
Ooh.
Yes. A good tip for you is we do like taco salads or whatever, but we do cabbage on the bottom.
Yeah, instead of like chips or whatever. And it actually makes like a crunch when you eat.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
So if you like the like Mexican type food, then do it. I would recommend.
Yeah.
Pre-op, we have Taco Tuesday every Tuesday at our house. It's my daughter's favorite meal. But so I would use like the butter lettuce wraps and like make a taco shell with the butter lettuce wrap, but I'll have to try cabbage too.
I've never tried the butter lettuce wraps.
I bought them to do sandwiches. Okay. So kind of the same thing. I couldn't do it.
I love butter lettuce.
Oh yeah. So stuff like some you don't like.
Yeah, there was something with the texture that, I mean, it was more newly post-op is what I'm thinking. So it might just be like that time.
Yeah, I mean, you can
That
probably like
you're-
it now because our taste buds, like that's a thing. Like it's changed a lot. Like, have you noticed anything in the first month?
Toothpaste was so weird post-op. Like almost immediately, I was like, "What the shit?" Oh, sorry.
No, you can go all you want. Go
Okay.
You're fine.
I was like, "Oh my God." I had to like get a few different toothpastes to like try and see what I liked post-op.
That's a new one.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
It's so
We're
funny.
super dark.
I know. What is going on with your lighting?
It's your
Those are
auto.
just moody and
Her computer does like this auto correct thing. And yeah, not
Yeah,
that
that's
anybody
what
on the podcast
I
really
know needs to know.
needs
But
to hear this, but yeah, she thought she fixed it, but
it's being a brat all of a sudden. It was fine for
Yeah.
a while, and then all of a sudden it just
now it's like
corrected.
super dark.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So just,
Anyways,
yeah, no worries there.
you're gonna pull it closer.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry.
All right. You're just like, what bam.
you get to see a closer view of your beautiful face.
Yeah, as long as you can see us, because
Yeah.
it's kind of
I
dark.
can see you.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I don't think we asked you, did you do a full 2-week liquid diet before?
No, my surgeon demanded a 3-week, basically like low carb pre-op diet, and then 1 day of clear liquids
Gotcha.
for surgery reasons.
Okay.
So yeah, mine was a lot easier for that reason, I think, than what other people are going through. It was, I think, harder in the fact that like everything was a decision, whereas like if you're just on a liquid diet, like there is no decision involved.
Yeah.
Here you go. Guess what you're having for lunch? Liquid. You're having a protein shake. What's for dinner?
In my case,
Protein shake.
so terrified of getting turned away on the surgical table or like having complications. Again, I've never had surgery before, real surgery. So I was just terrified into like doing what I was told.
Yeah. No,
Same.
I was the same way. Yeah. I was like, because I heard people like, oh, you can cheat a little bit, like in the like support groups or whatever, which hello, that's not supportive. But I'm like, why would you cheat? Why would you like put like, I don't want to be on the table and then open me up and be like, she didn't follow it. So stitch her back up and send her home.
I will admit that it was like, I think 3 days before surgery, I called Katie, who's another member of this community. And I basically called her as if she was my sponsor and was like, Katie, I really want McDonald's. And I figure if anybody's going to tell me I can have McDonald's, it's you. She was like, well, fuck you, first of all. But no, you can't have McDonald's.
Yeah, no fucking way.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my God.
I love it. That's what's so
good job, Katie. Good job.
Good job,
about
Katie.
Glad you have someone that can do that for you.
Yes.
Get yourself accountability, buddy.
It's true.
Well, and you guys weren't that far apart from her surgery to yours,
was
right?
December 22nd, if I'm remembering correctly. So it was about 6 or 7 weeks apart. Yeah.
Okay. So that's probably been really nice to have, because I know you and Katie are very close. You guys do your Sunday
night self-care.
Yeah. And so how was it nice having somebody like that was so close to you, like going through pretty much the same thing?
Her experience was a little bit different. So she was allowed to have solids right out of surgery.
What?
Yeah. So there was a little bit of like, okay, don't look at what she's eating. Like, don't pay attention to that because you can't have it. So there was some of that, but yeah, it has been nice to talk to somebody who's like, like I hit 3 weeks and I hit a stall, which is really common, I know now. So it was nice, having somebody that I could turn to be like, what the hell?
It's nothing you did. Nothing you did.
What have I done wrong?
Well, and when you
free popsicles.
Well, when you said like you hit a stall, what was that like? Was it just that you just stopped, literally like no weight that week?
No, I'm not even using the word stall right, but it was like I'd lost like 5 pounds and 7 pounds, and it was like 1 pound.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's not stall.
And I was like, but it was I think on social, I was careful not to call it a stall because you guys literally did a podcast episode about stalls and you're like, it's not a stall unless. And so when I posted about it on social media, I was like, I called it a blip. My like weight blip.
I like that.
That's a good term.
Yeah.
I really like that.
We need to coin that and start using it all the time because there is a big difference
between a blip and
a stall.
Yeah.
Because stalls like weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
Or months.
I haven't had any true stalls yet.
Good.
So, awesome.
So what's the weight loss at so far?
So at 4 weeks post-op, I have lost 15 pounds.
That's awesome. That is so great.
Which I would emphasize for people, like, don't compare your journey to anybody else's.
Correct.
But I've gotten some messages recently from people who quote unquote only lost 22 pounds in the first month. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
To use Katie's term, first off, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then second off, no.
Seriously, like that's a lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight. And honestly, I really didn't have much expectation for the first 6 weeks because everybody's body and how they deal with water retention post-op is different. So you really can't have any expectations for the first 6 weeks. So.
Correct. And you're getting that gas pumped into you. It's going all over your system. You have no idea like what your body weight's going to be like. The best thing is to weigh yourself right before surgery and then just wait a week.
Yeah,
if you can, wait 2, because it's just not accurate until you're later on. So
I'm trying, to only weigh myself on a weekly basis because I have realized, like, I would say pre-op, weighing myself didn't put me in a bad mood. Like if I weighed myself and I was up a couple of pounds, it was just data. Like, I'll weigh a couple pounds more. Post-op, I have this preconceived expectation of weight loss. And so when I weigh myself and I haven't, it does put me in a bad mood. And so I'm really hard to only weigh myself on a weekly basis so that there are almost always some losses there. And I don't get emotional about it.
That's a good plan because you noticed about yourself and you changed up the behavior. So I really like that because I don't think a lot of people understand or catch it.
As quickly as you have.
Yeah.
It might take a few months.
I'm not like perfect at it. I weighed myself this morning and was like, son of a, like, why did I do that?
Well, we all can't be perfect.
No, there's no such thing.
Yeah. No, I weighed myself almost every single day.
Yeah, every morning.
Because it kept me, like, it didn't affect my mood.
See,
but it like,
fine.
Yeah. And but it like showed me, okay, this is where I'm at. Okay, so how am I going to take this? Like, even though it has nothing to do with what I'm doing in that day, like it's the week before that really, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
But I still like, it made me like refocus in on what point was of why I was doing this. So
yeah, I would agree. Cause mine was like, it's like data, like it didn't affect me with the emotional to it. Thank God. Cause like, I could see myself falling down that rabbit hole real quick. If I let it. So it was just like, okay, information. Now this is what I'm gonna eat today. Cause now I'm reflecting on like what my actual weight was and what I should be doing. Yeah.
And I think in my pre-op process, that's how I was. I haven't mastered the comparison game yet post-op. It's so hard not to look at other people's journeys. It's like, oh shoot, like, am I off track? Like, or I think what I fear more is, are there small things, like incremental things that I'm doing wrong that are going to add up over time to me not hitting my goal within the first year or something,
No,
that's where my anxiety sits right
now. I get it.
I just like literally verbatim of what you've just said, I've actually said in my head to myself because of like looking at other girls' is like stuff. Cause I'm like, wait, they lost like 25 in like the second month. I don't understand why I've only lost 15. Like, this is weird. Like I get upset and be like, hey, what am I missing? Like, I need to follow and figure out like, if I'm not having enough water here, is it protein? What is it? Like, I'm just trying to figure it out and fine tune it. But it's really, you're not doing anything wrong. It's just your body loses it differently.
I know, it's all different. And, everybody's experience with how they want their journey to go too is a little bit different. So I know, Kelly, you were like no carbs your first year. And I had that really in my head before I like had my surgery. And then, you know, as I'm getting a little bit further out, I'm like, no, I'm probably gonna eat like, you know, the little like crostinis with my bruschetta and, you know, like have little things here and there. And for me, I know that like I think that I can like find some balance in there where I'm, you know, monitoring it because I do have a crazy all or nothing personality that I need to break. And if I try to eliminate carbs entirely, I'm going to rebel and eat a pint of ice cream, you know? So I need to like find the middle ground somewhere.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's really hard to figure out what to do with carbs. And like, it's hard to know where to be at because you always hear low carb, low carb, low carb. And so that was stuck in my brain. And so I was like, well, if I eat a potato, I'm going to gain 5 pounds. Like in my head, that was my justification. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not eating potatoes. I'm not eating bread. I'm not eating like nothing. So now 2 years out, I'm trying to find that balance that you're trying to figure. I know.
Crazy.
So weird.
What?
That I'm almost 2 years out.
I know. It's gone quick.
On the 25th. Yeah.
It was crazy. Sorry.
Yeah, it's coming up real quick. No, you're
No,
fine.
no, I keep thinking about it because I'm like 2 years. Oh my gosh, it's been 2 years.
Well, I would say like, I'm thankful that I didn't have that anxiety over carbs. Like, because what Eric did, because Eric loves to cook, is where like, I just gave him the menu that Dr. Patterson gave me and the nutritionist. And I was like, these are the only things I can eat. This is what they said. And he's like, okay. So he only like, that's what we would have. It's just like protein shakes or whatever we can have. So I didn't present myself with any carbs because it wasn't on the list. So he just made things that were on the list. And like, I said, no, like her birthday was like 10 days after my surgery.
So bad now.
And she invited me to Olive Garden. And I was like,
I remember you guys talking about.
Yeah, I was like, I can't step foot in Olive Garden. She's like, oh, well, you know, I just wanted to invite you. And I was like, okay, because it's like, I can't, like, nope, there's no way.
Back then I had no idea what I was doing. Now I would never do that to somebody. But I was just like, oh yeah, just you can just not eat.
Get the problem.
Like, yeah. Like I don't think I pushed or anything,
No,
but I was
didn't.
just like, I didn't understand the whole process of that. And I was kind of not very sensitive to that.
No,
so,
that's okay.
Hindsight's 2020, man.
Yeah, you live and you learn.
now I know.
Look how supportive you are now.
Yeah. Well,
There you go.
There we
So
go.
it's totally
I made
fine.
up for it.
But yeah, like if you can just, if you love to cook, like that could be a strategy, by the way. Cause like if you do only eat the protein, you're like not even thinking about the sides that could be involved. So
Yeah.
just
So we
FYI.
use HelloFresh in our house and Eric cooks every night. And so I just eat the protein parts of it. And and honestly, that's all they have room for anyway. So
seriously.
Fine. But now and then I'll take a bite of the mashed potatoes or things like that if it's on there. And I think I feel good about it because I'm like, any carbs that I am putting in my body are fiber rich and it'll help me poop. Anything to help me poop.
Seriously.
Yes.
Seriously.
I think that's perfect. I love that you're dealing with it now instead of pushing it out and you're going to have to deal with it eventually.
I mean, what it may mean though, is that I don't lose weight as fast. So that's something that gives me some anxiety if I'm being honest about it. So
well, we don't know how true that is because as long as you're hitting your numbers, you should be okay.
You should be fine. Yeah. I don't think
you'll be fine.
I mean, I had the same fear and that is why I didn't, because I did not want to not lose weight. I wanted to lose weight every single time I stepped on the scale.
Yeah.
And so that was like my brain of like, don't eat carbs because then you're not going to lose weight. You're still going to lose weight. You just make sure it fits into your plan and you're good. And honestly, if you're having like, I don't know, chicken and you have one bite of mashed potatoes, it's not going to.
No, and it can't. Like there's no way that that's going to make you gain all of your weight back. Like that's not
physically impossible.
Exactly. What is the like NSV? What's like the biggest NSV so far for you?
Ooh. The biggest NSV so far. I would say just that my energy level is back. So I would, and this is very recent, as of 4 weeks, I would say for the first 2 weeks, I was like a haggard mess. And then for the next 2 weeks, I thought my energy was back, but it wasn't until I hit 4 weeks and I was like, okay, Stephanie's back, but in a bigger way, right? So like pre-op, you know, carrying around all of that extra weight, I felt like I needed a nap every single day. And I was getting like 7 or 8 hours of sleep at night, and I still felt like I needed a nap every single day. But post-op now, I've just started to notice that I, you know, had a small break in work the other day, and I was like, oh, I could run and go take a little nap, because that's just like how my brain normally thinks. And I was like, I'm actually not tired at all. Like I can get some other things done. Like, holy crap, what is this feeling?
That's awesome.
So I think the energy level has been my biggest NSV. And I know it's not as like, you know, tangible as, you know, a seatbelt remover or a size of jeans, but like that one, I think I was too afraid to even hope for that. Pre-op, because my energy level has been slowly declining over years, especially because I'm naturally anemic. And so I think that's just been a very, very pleasant surprise.
Good.
No, and it's your NSV. It can be whatever you want. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, because like you have the energy now. You can do things that you probably couldn't do before, or at least stay more awake, it sounds like. So you can enjoy more things. So, and you have 2 little ones. So
all of my goals. Before we started recording, you know, I was telling you to read Adriana Huffington's Sleep Revolution. I'd recommend that for everybody, because it just talks about the importance of sleep. And like, honestly, if you're tired, it affects every single category of your life, especially like the amount of joy that you're getting out of your life. So
yeah, thank you. There's a couple nights where I'll only sleep like an hour or 2, and I can't function. Like, I'm just not functioning. Like nothing's there. And until I go back to sleep. And that's just how it is.
It's insane. Like, that's the one thing I've been trying to like push is sleep, because it is such a huge factor. And like how we even just like as bariatric patients, we need to sleep, we need to heal, we need to process the food. Like you just need it. And even as a normal person, like you really need to like let your body reset. Like
and for anybody listening who's specifically motivated by weight loss, like you're not going to lose as much weight if you're not getting sleep. There's hormones in your body that like won't reset for you to like keep losing weight. So
well, and it really didn't start happening. Like, I've never been a great sleeper, but it wasn't until like I hit my first surge anniversary that it got horrible. Like,
interesting.
Yeah, no idea what happened in between there, but yeah, I went from like okay sleep, but to like never sleeping, and I'd be like up at 2 a.m. like wide awake.
Maybe you should tell Dr. Thompson.
I think you should. I bet they'll want to check your levels, because you might have like a thyroid situation going on, or
just a hormone. Like it could be fixable.
Well, I do have a lab paper thing in my purse that I just realized was in there.
I was gonna ask you, because side story, everybody, she got on my booty about me not getting my blood work done and getting it checked out, and she's like, maybe we'll go together. And I was like, okay. And I made my appointment, and I did mine months ago, by the way, everyone. So
in my defense, I just saw her last month.
But you didn't get your labs have been scheduled
completely different.
No, your labs have been scheduled for way longer than that.
Okay, it might be like 6 months. I'm not entirely sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mel's face. Oh my god.
Like,
yeah, let's not sugarcoat this shit. Like, I was like, wait, I got that done like in February or like late January.
In my defense, though, you were having a lot of issues.
When do I have issues?
No, like with your period.
Oh yes.
And so that's why I was like, yeah, physical issues. So I was like, you need to get them checked.
It's true.
I know I need to get them checked.
Yeah, get them checked. Thank you. Now we're back to the bariatric.
Anyways, so let's talk about the bariatric retreat.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm so excited that you and Bree came up with this idea, right?
Yeah, tell us how it all started.
So
happened.
Poor Bree. I roped her into it. I was chatting with some friends. It actually started as we were talking about like getting a house in the woods to just like hang out together. And your girl's a little extra. And suddenly, like, I was like, what if we had a retreat? I started researching to see what else was out there in this vein, and there really isn't much. There's a conference that happens in Vegas on an annual basis, but it's huge.
Yes.
Well, that's not really what I want. And I put out a survey to the Instagram community that, you know, I knew back then, I think October of 2020.
Yeah.
Ago.
We answered that survey. I remember.
Yeah. And over 300 people answered the survey. And so I was like, okay, and left their like email addresses and phone numbers for follow-up in that they wanted to go to the retreat. And so yeah, I just started, you know, looking for venues and narrowing in on the ticket price and stuff like that. And at that point, I pulled in Bree because she has experience with the Beauty Education Summit, and she owns Editor Media, which is an influencer management company. And kind of pitched my vision for what is now the Bariatric Society, where we manage bariatric influencers and resources, and then host these events. And so the first one is scheduled for November 11th in San Diego at Paradise Point, which I am so excited about. I love that resort so much, and it just makes me so happy that because of the bariatric retreat, we're getting people to like have access to this bougie ass resort at like a reasonable price that they wouldn't normally get. So like that part alone makes me so excited. And then there's the component of like, you know, we put the ask out for people who want to speak, and the response has been overwhelming. You know, we've got Woke Up Like Des and Micho Baby and Our Sleeve Life podcast and you know, just like the lineup is incredible, and we're in content development mode right now, and like we're truly creating a retreat I would want to attend. And so it's just been really exciting. I think, you know, we're already starting to plan spring of 22 on the East Coast.
Yay.
We're planning in 2022, we'll have 2 events, and then 2023, we'll probably add a 3rd one in the summer, do a summer camp. So we've got, you know, like our 3-year trajectory mapped out.
I love it.
Yeah, it's just, you know, we have 150 registered attendees for this one. We want to keep it small for quality control, make sure we can, you know, nail it, get it right the first time. And those tickets sold out in an hour and 20 minutes.
Damn, girl.
We have over 1,000 people on our wait list right now. So the demand is there. You know, people are thirsty for opportunities to connect with each other. And it just feels really exciting to get to provide that.
Yay. Because I was so excited when like you guys reached out and we were going to be doing this stuff, because like one bougie place, like I've never been to a bougie place. Like I literally am the girl that's just like, we're staying at a Days Inn. I don't give a two shits of how expensive that room is. I'm barely going to be in it. I'm going to be playing the whole time. So I'm so excited I get to go to actual resort retreat, like hang out and get to meet all these freaking people.
Yes, that's like number one. Is just meeting everybody that you know who they are. Like you see their face, you know who they are, and so it'll be fun to like actually face to face, we can hug.
Like, that part's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
The other thing is like everything's a little bit tougher as a bariatric patient, right? We're a little more insecure about our bodies. So we've secured a pool that's exclusively for our group for the whole weekend. So our diets are different. So we're addressing that with the foods that are offered at the meal times, you know? So it's nice because we're able to offer this vacation to people that's custom to a bariatric patient while they're absorbing some learning and getting to meet all these
people. How cool is that?
It's so fantastic
and thoughtful, because like I actually never thought about that. Like we are a little different. Like we do have different needs, just like any other person. So like, oh yeah, like let's go and get it all taken care of. I don't have to worry about what's going to be on the menu now. Like, that's awesome.
I love that.
A little bit further out from surgery, I can only imagine, but I imagine it's harder to stay fully focused on the journey, right? Like the rest of your life starts to exist again. And so my long-term dream is that people see this as an annual opportunity to like refocus on themselves, refocus on their health, and like get centered with, you know, the things that bring them joy. And so I hope I just hope that people like love it so much that they want to go every year.
We already love it, and it hasn't even happened yet. So
well, there's nothing like this.
No.
Like that's the deal, is like people want this type of like community and like socialization, because like I'd love to be able to talk to someone in person, like what's going on, because like you don't really have that just locally anywhere. Like,
well, and then you add COVID on top of it.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
exactly.
Nothing's
really cool too. I'm not going to reveal too many details, but we're also going to do an activity on day 1 where people get to meet other people that are near them geographically, so that they can create connections at that level as well. So hopefully when they go home, they have friends that they can meet up with in real life.
That's fantastic. I love that so much, because it gives you, it really like solidifies the people that you're meeting.
Yeah.
Like, because it's hard when people are across the country, but you know.
Yeah. As much as we can, we want people to leave feeling like they have the support they need to be successful. None of us are going to be that 50%.
No, none of us. No, there's hands down. No, that's not happening. The other thing I love is that it's all walks of life. So it's people that are like super new post-op, some that are way later post-op. There's some that had bypass. There's some that had sleeve, the duodenal switch. Like, I love that there's just a little bit of everything, and there's something for everybody during it.
Yeah. And the content is really going to cover all the things: dietary, fitness, how to turn your bariatric journey into a moneymaker, like wellness, from a mental perspective, getting back to your why. There's just so much. Like, we had a field day coming up with the content ideas. So fun. I'm just excited.
You should be. You're creating something that like everybody needs and wants. And thank you.
Yes, thank you for doing it, because without you, there would be no bariatric retreat. So
without speakers, there'd be no bariatric retreat.
True.
Well, I mean,
but also there wouldn't be the Bariatric Diaries, guys, if you don't know. Stephanie named us.
She did.
She named this series.
Yes. When we talked back, I think it was like November-ish. We asked Stephanie, we were like, what do we call this? Like, we're doing this spinoff. What do we call it? And you came up with the Bariatric Diaries, and we were like, sold. Can we steal that? Because we love it.
Not stealing. Not if I give it to you.
True.
Naming is my jam. Branding is my jam.
Yeah, you're great at it. Because literally we had the meeting with you, and then we came right downstairs and recorded with my brother for his first episode for the Bariatric Diaries. So that's why. That's why we were like, we need to know, like, what do you think? Because like I forgot, like, oh yeah, we have an opener, like we need to name this thing. And damn, like
it was like
so quick and good.
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks, and we're like, what are we calling this? And we're like, I have no idea.
Yeah,
I have no idea what we're calling this. And then you came. I love it. I just absolutely, I think it nails it on the head of like, this is a diary. You're basically putting a year of your life into this podcast that will always be here.
Yeah, and everybody gets to hear your side of it. So speaking of that, so this last month, what are like the things that you thought that you knew but didn't know, and what are you looking forward to?
Ooh. I thought I knew how tough the post-op experience would be, but I had no idea. And it does range dramatically for different people. So I don't mean to scare anybody, but I don't think that I like really honored what a serious surgery this is from a mental perspective. I was like, I'll be fine. I'm, in the range of bariatric patients, I'm on the healthier side. So I very much felt like I'm going to bounce back pretty quickly. I was a little cocky about it. And I think post-op, I was humbled.
Yeah. You're like, okay, this is harder than I thought.
Yep.
It was harder than I thought. The exhaustion, that stitch pain, the exhaustion.
It's like having a newborn all over again.
It really was, without the positive hormones that you get from childbirth. So yeah.
Now you are through your liquid, your pureed, and your soft. So now you're on regular foods at this point, right?
I am at 4 weeks, so I am now on soft foods.
So you have a longer.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, two
So
and two.
2 and 2.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Because mine was like clumped together. So my soft food puree stage was like 2 weeks together.
See, that would make more sense in my mind just because like I had such a hard time going into soft foods. I recently met with my dietitian and was like, could you give me some ideas for what is soft food? Because I feel like I was eating it all on pureed. And it was, like bananas and peanut butter was an idea she gave me, or turkey wrapped string cheese. So things that I wouldn't have thought of as soft foods were considered soft foods. So
okay. Yeah, because I would never say the turkey and cheese. So
which
good to know.
Was tough to get down the first time, let's be honest. But but doable.
That first bite where you're having to chew 25 times, you're like,
yeah. And now every once in a while I'll forget to chew it to a pulp. And I'm like, oh God, okay, I'm just gonna sit for a minute unless I need to puke.
Just stand up, arms straight up in the air. It works.
It does work.
Oh,
it works every time.
Good
even my husband yesterday ate too much of his crab salad and he's like, it hurts. And I was like, put down the food and put your arms up and start walking. And he's like, what? And I was like, trust me, it works. And I've had followers tell us that it works. And he did it in like within minutes. He was like, fuck, that would totally work. I'm like, sweet.
If you see Mel
more.
Yeah, of course he did.
Yeah.
If you see Mel standing, like when we're doing reviews, that's why, because it's just too much. And so she'll stand up and gravity works.
Totally works. So you said what the whole, like the difference thing now. So what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to like seeing the changes myself. I don't really see them in myself yet. And I've heard from some people like that have lamented that it took 100 pounds before they saw the change. I'm getting a lot of like kind compliments from friends and family that saw me recently. But my brain is constantly like, oh, you're just saying that because you knew I had surgery.
Right.
And so like my clothes feel looser. I see the data on the scale. I just don't see it. So which again, this isn't why I got surgery, but it would be nice to have that like visual reinforcement.
Are you doing the photos so you can see the side by side?
Yeah. So I've just started doing some of the like face-to-face Fridays and transformation Tuesdays, and I see it in the picture. Like I see change, but it's more that I like suddenly see how big I was before. Not that I see that like, oh, you look so great now, which is, I know the body dysmorphia talking, and I hate how self-hating that sounds, but that's the reality of it.
Well, I mean, you can't be positive 24/7. Like it's just like, that's going to happen. And body dysmorphia is a freaking bitch. So
it's a real fucking thing.
I remember you guys talking about it in the podcast pre-op, and I was like that can't be that severe. Like I could not wrap my brain around like it really being as distorting as it is. But it really is.
Because you still recognize yourself, but when you start doing the side by side, you're like, oh, I didn't realize how big I was. I didn't know I really looked like that. Like I've seen one time a video of me from the back, and I was like, fucking A, like, don't ever show me that goddamn video again. Like I was just like, nope, there's like, I just didn't know.
That sad too? Like
it is.
The thoughts that I have about my past self, like make me ashamed of having those thoughts. It's like such a shame spiral. I feel ashamed of how I looked, and then I feel ashamed for having the thoughts about
it's a vicious cycle of the guilt. So like now, like I know, like with Kelly's face, she's like, you shouldn't say that about yourself. Like it's okay to see the video, and it's like, no, like I'm okay not seeing the video again. It's not gonna hurt my feelings to not. It's fine.
I mean, personally, I watching those videos, watching those pictures, seeing those pop up, that's what gives me motivation that I did what I was supposed to do. And so that's why I watch them. That's why I look at them.
And when there.
Exactly. And like, I think there are certain points where I do go be like, why did I do that to myself? Like that was, I was so big. And then I think about it, and that person had bravery though. Because they did this surgery, and that they put me where I'm at right now. So I have to thank that old me, because they were at least brave enough to take a step that not everybody can make.
No, that leap, like taking that leap is hard because it's a whole new world.
The other thing I struggle with a little bit is that I did lose 25 pounds in my pre-op process. And so, you know, combined with the weight that I've lost post-op, I think is great, but I haven't surpassed what I lost pre-op yet. And so I'm like, oh my God, this better freaking be worth it.
It is. Trust the process. Trust the process. You've got this.
Yes, for sure.
It's hard to understand it when you're in it, especially that first month. It's really hard to like, your brain's still like, what did you do to me? Not quite sure what's going on. And then eventually,
we were friends.
Yeah, I thought we were friends, and I guess not.
I would say mine lasted for like 3 months. It was like that. It was just
really
a long time to.
You were very like cautious though.
I was very, very cautious. I was so scared of like the stitch thing. I was like, or having a leaky pouch, but I was like, you ain't gonna fucking open me up again. So we're gonna do this damn thing as 100% right, because I'm so scared of like, I thought acid was going to leak on all of my organs, and I would have to get like taken to the emergency immediately. And I ruined half my organs just because I couldn't eat right. So I was like, that can't happen. So I didn't let it happen. But yeah, it took 3 months for the anxiety to stop.
Oh, wow. I remember you telling me that, but it's just so much worse the second time.
Because you know what I'm talking about. You're like, oh yeah, that's what.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I was cautious, but I wasn't like, I mean, if my surgeon said you can have solid foods, I was like, okay, they said I can have solid foods, and I ate, and then, you know, I never had a concern like that. I
could relate a little bit to that. I was telling you guys today, I called my surgeon because I had a migraine earlier and was like, Tylenol's not touching it. Can I have ibuprofen? And I remember her telling me that like, after the first couple of weeks, because you're a VSG patient, like you can have ibuprofen, but I couldn't remember what week she said. And I was so anxious that like, if I took ibuprofen too early, it's gonna poke right through and ruin everything.
Yeah. I get like the chemical compound's gonna like weaken it or something, and just fucking shit up.
Oh, you guys are cracking me up.
Thank you, Stephanie. I feel better.
I got you, girl.
My gosh.
Well, is there anything with your first month that we may have missed, or that you want everybody to know about, or having you
join book club?
Join book club, and keep an eye, or go follow Bariatric Retreat or the Bariatric Society.
Yes.
I call it the retreat all the time.
Oh, it's okay. Bariatric Society is where you can follow updates about the retreat. You can actually find the website on there to sign up for the wait list if you're interested in this fall, or if you want to get notifications about the spring event or the virtual event. We'll have a virtual event as well. At Bariatric Book Club is where you can learn all about book club, and the web address to sign up for that. We are reading The Body Is Not an Apology right now, which is why I'm beating myself up over having body shame. And I already have like all of the books picked for the rest of the year, and we'll be announcing those soon. So the lineup is so good. It's so good.
How does the book club work?
So you sign up on the site. There's either the membership only, which is just $15 a month to get access to the meetings, or all inclusive, which is $25 a month and includes getting the book shipped to you. And then you pick a session time that you like. So we have book club week, which is typically the last week of the month. And there are sessions on East Coast friendly times and West Coast friendly times, and then somewhere in the middle. So far we have 4 sessions a week right now, but I always add sessions as they get to 20 a piece, because I don't want too many people to be in the room. Conversational. And then, you hop on, and each person will go around and introduce themselves and say where they are in their journey, where they are in the world, how they would rate the book. And then we launch into some questions, and people can talk as much or as little as they want to. And we are always relating the book back to our weight loss surgery journey. So, the ways that we were affected by, body shame as we went through it. I'm speaking specifically about this book, but, and things like that. And then it's about 90 minutes and we save the last 10 minutes or so for just open questions, tips, or concerns that you're running into in your process. So
cool. Wow. I didn't know that it was all like that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I like it. It's like that week is a highlight of my month for sure.
Oh, I bet.
It's basically like a support group, but with people that you decided to do it with.
Yeah.
Instead of just the randos in your community.
Yeah. And you've all have like at least like the same kind of goal, and you guys are all like reading the same thing. So it's very relatable.
Pre-op in there. So people are welcome to join pre-op or post-op. But we have a nice range of people that are pre-op to recent surgery to 2 years out. And so there's always really good advice throughout of like, oh yeah, when I was going through the pre-op diet, I did X, Y, or Z and things like that, which are really nice.
Oh, I love it. You do such a good job for our community.
Yeah.
It would not be the same without you.
Thank you.
You're appreciated.
God, I was obese for 33 years of my life.
Thank God we were all obese because I will say I
am grateful to my body for like finding a way to survive through trauma in my younger years, and B, like I'm thankful to get to go through this process. I think it's really rare for adults to get to have this like transformational moment in their life where they get to, really evaluate what brings them joy, what makes them healthy, what wellness looks like for them.
Yes.
So I think we're all pretty lucky.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I've gone through some transformations in the last couple of years, and so it's kind of nice because you get to rediscover who you are.
Yeah.
Not just
floating through.
Yeah. Because that's honestly what it felt like for many, many years for me, is like just floating.
You're just here.
There was nothing like good or bad. It was just, I was there.
Yeah, I can totally relate. And I think that like with you being a part of this community and doing the book club stuff and the society and having the podcast that we have and other people that are trying to help with their, like VSGT and East to West and you have to shout out Kid from, Sleep the Hype. Like it's so important because people think that they can't change and they can't be any better. And this community really proves that it can. So like, if we can do anything for this community and like build it up so they can like kind of spread it to their people, then maybe we can all be like better as a society.
Yeah.
Just start here.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
And for those of you that don't know, Stephanie is actually like an hour away from us. So for the next episode, we're going to be in the same room.
Yeah. We'll all be vaccinated.
Yes.
Yay. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm so stoked.
Everybody look forward to that. Because it's going to be her 3-month post-op. We'll be in the studio. So, well, thank you, Stephanie, for coming on. We do appreciate you. And good luck for the next 2 more months. And we can't wait to check in with you.
Yes.
Thank you.